Good evening, guys. Welcome to Corey Michaels Movies. Yes, this is a channel where we just get along. We have a good time and we talk about movies and we do some stupid stuff once in a while. But don't worry, because that's mostly me. You don't have to worry about that. So what we're doing, not a Blu-ray hunting video, not a collection video, not a this, not a that. It's a topic I've been thinking about before, but then again recently it's come back up. So the topic is, you ready for this? It is a battle. This is going to be a battle between 2 years, and 2 important years, because I believe these might be the 2 best years in film. 1984 and 1994. So I'm going to make my case as to why and present a handful of movies from each of the years. And you'll probably disagree with that, and that's okay. That's why we have these YouTube channels, to have discussions, agreements, disagreements, arguments, tempers flare. I'll tell you how I started thinking about this really quickly. I've been watching Cobra Kai. I've got through the first season really quickly. The show is way better than it ever should be. Let's just say that. The show getting out is a miracle, but this show had no business being this good, and it is. So, you know, of course, I rewatched Karate Kid. Oh, 1984. Man, after I'm looking at this list, this is a really packed year. This is a really packed year. Then I've also thought about 1994 in film before, and now the matchup in my head has begun. So, let's make a quick case. You know, I could think about this longer and be like, no, not these 2 years. It's 1975, you know? But, right now, we're going to do a battle between 1984 and 1994, and I'll let y'all be the judge. Here we go. So, we're going to start off in 1984, my favorite decade of all time. I love the movies, I love the music, I love the TV, I love everything about it. Let's start. Boom. 16 Candles, guys. Okay, this is pretty much the initial John Hughes dramedy high school movie. I think this is Molly Ringwald's breakout. This is before Breakfast Club. This is before Pretty in Pink. I like this right behind Breakfast Club, I believe, of his movies. Classic. And if you love the 80s, watch this movie. Watch this movie. Okay, thank you. A Nightmare on Elm Street, guys. The first movie to kick off this long-running franchise that may or may not still be going. Who knows? Either way, one of the cleverest... Is that a word? Can I use that word here? One of the most clever movies, horror movies of the 80s. Yes, it is a slasher to a degree. Well, it is a slasher, but it's very well thought out. It's not mindless and dumb. I love those too, but Wes Craven, it's Wes Craven, guys. I'm going to go through these movies kind of quickly. I don't want to spend too long talking about this, but here we go. The Karate Kid. I just talked about this movie. Great movie. A lot of great music. It's another just great 80s movie. Guys, the 80s is dated but timeless at the same time. It's on another planet. It was never on this planet. It was somewhere else, and maybe we'll be able to visit it again one day. I don't know. Probably not. But either way, Ralph Macchio, okay, has he aged a day in 30 years? A little bit, but he still looks good. This is Spinal Tap. Okay, I've seen this before a few years ago. I thought it was decent, okay? My humor has evolved, apparently, because I watched this a couple months ago, if that, like 2 or 3 times in a row. This movie is hilarious. It's way ahead of its time. It's very, almost kind of like a fake rock and roll documentary about this band meets The Office. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Uzi 9mm. The Terminator. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. I know that was off of T2, but I love that quote. So, The Terminator, the first one, the second best one in my opinion. Sometimes I like this over the second one, but overall I'm going to say T2. I mean, Arnold in his prime, or really before his prime. I mean, this is the beginning of his prime, but man, what a great movie. Gremlins. Gremlins, guys, this list, this is a strong case, I think. I think you'll agree with this. It's just one of those timeless movies. The effects in this are great. The practical effects, everything's CGI now, and it's gotten to be really good, but those movies back in the day, I'm talking about like Aliens, Gremlins, The Thing, classics, man. Classics! We got Phoebe Cates and a kid, I don't remember his name, Zach Galifianakis. I'm just kidding, guys. It's Zach Galligan or something like that. Judge Reinhold's in here a little bit. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take a little mid-80s Judge Reinhold any day. Ghostbusters. 1984. Whoa, man. I mean, this is a killer year. Not my favorite 80s movie, but I do like this a lot. And I think the new Ghostbusters is really going to be great. What a great song. Who you going to call? I mean... Look at this VHS, too. I mean, this is classic, man. Classic stuff here. Bill Murray. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Okay, this has become, I believe, my favorite Indiana Jones. I know. I thought it was Raiders. I thought it was Last Crusade. I never thought it was a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, even though I kind of like that movie. But I think it's Temple of Doom now, and I think it's going to stay there for a while. And the last one, there's others. There's The Never Ending Story. I don't own that. I know. Butcher me. What am I going to do? I think Red Dawn. Splash. I do own that. That's up here somewhere. If you like that, that's fine. And another movie I've not seen, Footloose. Okay, I know people love this movie. It's Kevin Baconator. I've just not seen it. I'll get around to doing it. I promise you I will. Don't you worry. But I'm throwing it on the list because I know a lot of people love it. So that's on the list. So, that's 1984, guys. Is there a year that can top that? I don't know, but we're going to try out 1994. Let's dive into it. Okay, starting off with The Lion King. Okay, this is the magnum opus of Disney. This is Disney's Renaissance era. 1989 to 1999. This is right smack dab in the middle of it. The soundtrack, the score, the animation, Scar as the villain. It's got a lot going for it. Even if you don't love animation or animated movies, I think you'll like this. Give it a try. The Shawshank Redemption. This might be a perfect film. Okay, can I say that? This might be a perfect film starring Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. 1994. And let me add, this was the year I was born, so hey, that's also another reason it's a good year. I love this movie from start to end. It's really an epic tale. It's really a great prison movie, but it's so much more than that. Alright, guys. 1994, if it was anybody's year, it was Jim Carrey's year. Okay? Okay, Ace Ventura's over there, guys. I forgot to grab it, but sorry. The Mask. It's playing on the TV right now. I watched this a ton as a kid. Very quotable. Very quotable. Aren't you due back at the lab to get your bolts tightened? Those pajamas are impossible. If you start dancing, I'm going to blow your brains out. Guys, it keeps coming. It keeps coming to me. You better stop me now. You better stop me now. Anyways, The Mask. Jim Carrey, a young Jim Carrey in his prime. Probably around my age at the time. Probably a little bit older. Cameron Diaz, I believe her first movie. This is classic stuff. Dumb and Dumber. My favorite movie of all time. Yeah, I know. Or at least it's the most rewatchable and definitely my favorite comedy of all time and my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time. It's dumb, but it's smart dumb, and it knows it's dumb, and the Farrelly brothers directed this. This was a good era for the Farrelly brothers. They've kind of gone downhill since, but Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey in this, if we want to talk about one-liners and quotes, this is the movie. We got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off! Sorry about that. Picture of the Year. I think it was Picture of the Year. Yeah, 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Forrest Gump. Another film that I love. There's so many depths and layers to this film. It seems like it's more than just one film. Tom Hanks, one of my favorite movies of him. Toy Story, I like a little bit better, but this is way up there. What a great movie. Very rewatchable, even though it's on TV all the time. 1994's Speed. If there ever was a 90s movie that's a 90s action movie that's from the 90s in 1994 that has a lot of 90s cheese, it's Con Air, and it's this, Speed. Sandra Bullock, very young Sandra Bullock. Keanu Reeves, everybody loves him now. I don't know what's going on. Where were you guys for the past 15 years? Okay, don't be a poser. Great popcorn cheese. Really good though. Really good movie. I haven't seen it in a bit, but I'm gonna check it out again. All right, guys. This is a mega one here. This is a mega one. Actually, I'll save that one for the end. I'll save that one for the end. True Lies, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. This was still in his prime. Okay, Jamie Lee Curtis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, great chemistry, good movie, a little bit long, and I don't know why it's not been upgraded to Blu-ray over here, but we need to get on that, James Cameron. I don't know what you're doing. You're too busy directing blue flying avatars, whatever. Hopefully that comes out soon. Yeah, True Lies. An Arnold, you have to throw an Arnold movie in here. You have to. Okay, we got one in the 80s, now we got one in the 90s. Good movie. Okay, the big one, even though this is not my favorite film of his, it's most people's, it is Pulp Fiction. Okay, this is really what put Tarantino on the map. We've had Reservoir Dogs before this, but I think Pulp Fiction really cemented as a kind of a new age, or at least he brought on a new age. His films were like no other that I know of. It's all about the dialogue and the story, of course, but the dialogue really played a big feature. And star-studded cast. Guys, if you've not seen this, do yourself a favor. Please go see it. So those 2 years, 1984 and 1994, I think those two are the two greatest years in film, or at least in the modern era. I can't think of another year that has more going for it. I want y'all to let me know in the comments what's y'all's favorite year for movies, and which year would you pick between the 1994 and the 1984. I know you want me to pick. It's going to be tough for me. I don't know. I really don't know, guys. In this moment, I'm leaning 1984, but gosh, it's almost a tie. It really is. I don't know. It's really tough. But I want you guys to tell me. The 80s and the 90s, they were a magical time. I wasn't in the 80s. I do remember the 90s. Not a ton of it, but enough to get by with. So, I'm glad I put out this video. I hope you like this kind of content. And make sure you comment, guys. Give it a like, subscribe, and most importantly, go catch a flick.